Bergmeyer. And Harold Brennan back on the track at the rear of the field. He's going to go around for the fun of it anyway. And we've got somebody trying to come through under Peter Logan. Neville Eltz is still holding them back. That's Mark Weaver is trying to try and slip through. Oh, more clashes, more rubbing of tyres. Mark Weaver's moved up into third place. Oh, he's getting fairly aggressive in there. He's getting very aggressive. And it's still Neville Eltz in second place. And what a battle going on with this batch of cars back there in second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth places. One lap left to go when they go past this time, and Eltz is still there. Mark Weaver, Clark, Peter Logue has dropped back a fair way, and even behind Bergmeyer now. Boy, gee, there's some bumping and scraping and swapping of positions. Logue has dropped back but picked up that last position again. He's moved up one from last, well, two from last if you count Harold. And over the line, second place was Eltz, and then it was Weaver. And of course the leading car right out in front there was Danny Amato, who, hello, and what have we got on the other side? Didn't see what happened to him over there. I think he might have got clipped. Danny Amato, well, I think he was glad that he was way out in front of all that. Neville Eltz, what a race, and a little Capri. What a battle to hold those cars back. Michael Clark did pretty well, 16. Mark Weaver, once again, I will await for the official results. Bergmeyer. How will our local driver Harold Brennan handle the start? He's got Michael Clark on the outside, and Brennan got away first. And Brennan has got some pretty quick cars right behind him, and Mackenzie, Clark, Cowlin, and he's gone already. Harold has, great passing manoeuvres there. I don't know how he didn't pick up a couple of mascots, but okay. And we've got the green light, and Harold's got a pretty good start. 77 on the outside is Michael Clark. Who's going to come into that corner first? Harold's in there. They'll get around this first corner this time. Clark on the outside. Cowlin a little bit further out. There was a car that slipped through there on the inside. It could have been Gavin Mackenzie. Harold's gone wide and let everybody go through. I think he's lost his steering. It's Mackenzie out in front. Tony Grinstead right up in his tail already, and Peter Reeves, the Victorian, one in third place. So it's Mackenzie, Grinstead and Reeves. And will that be Clark back there in third place. Cowlin a little further back. Ron Dalton, I think, behind him. Neville Eltz a lot further back. And look at the battle going on with Mackenzie here. Grinstead in second place. Reeves a bit further back, and another battle a bit further back between Dalton and Clark. I think that other car is down the far side straight. Grinstead making point nose. Mackenzie out as yet into the Deacon Avenue corner. Mackenzie's just leaving enough room there, maybe, for Grinstead to get through. Power about equal as they come past us. Mackenzie's still able to keep the nose down. In the meantime, Peter Reeves is closing that gap up. He wants to have a go at the action too, and Graham Cowlin back there in fourth place. Down the far straight, into the Deacon Avenue corner again. Once again, number 11, Tony Grinstead will have a go to go through on the inside. Mackenzie, number 22, driving extremely well. They're two Ballarat drivers down there leading the field. Tony Grinstead, the Australian number 1, just cannot get the nose through. This time he got the nose level. Mackenzie comes down onto the inside line. Grinstead still a little bit out as they come through the corner, as it's been happening for the last 3 or 4 laps. Back to Reeves, Cowlin, Dalton. 47 is Stewart, I think it was. Clark, Eltz and McKecker at the rear of the field, but it's a dice between these two leading cars. It's holding the interest at the moment. Through the Deacon Avenue corner, and has that a bit of smoke coming out the back, or is it dust? It looked like a bit of colour dust to me. It's still Gavin Mackenzie. What a job he's doing holding the Australian number 1 out. And I think there is a little bit of smoke coming out. There is an overheating just a little. Tony Grinstead is waiting for that on Harold Brennan. You can see what happened to his car down there with a horrible flat tyre I've just caught. And the smoke's getting a bit thicker. Has he got it this time? 1 lap left to go. Tony Grinstead got up level. He's dropped back. Gavin Mackenzie has got another better lead this time for the last half of the last lap. Can Tony Grinstead pick up that placing? He's going to certainly have a go around the Deacon Avenue corner. Gavin Mackenzie, it is probably the biggest lead out of that corner all night from Tony Grinstead. Peter Reeves, Graham Cowlin, Rob Dalton, Steve Stewart, and a little further back it's Michael Clark. Oh, Neville Eltz. And at the rear of the field, Gavin McKecker. Well, that's the sort of racing you like to see at the between the leading cars, and I think that might have given the lap record a little bit of a shake. What a drive by number 22, Gavin Mackenzie. Tony Grinstead not quite able to get past. And look at that horrible looking back tyre of Harold Brennan's. Well, there weren't too many slouches in that race. I'll be interested to see the times. In fact, we've got the official plate. And some of the quicker cars at the back of the field, and away we go. And how will 31 Ludwig go out there? It's Bergmeyer who's gone round the outside, and then Logus following him. All a bit of a clash of cars, and they've spread eagle the field everywhere, but it didn't hold things too much. No, Rodder didn't come out of that too well, dropped a fair way back into the tail enders, but who's the car leading? I think that was Bergmeyer, who took off pretty well. Peter Logue is way out after him. Gary Drew, Philip Paul, 31 Ludwig has dropped back a fair way through the field. John Rodder in there as well. Let's go back to the leaders, and this fellow out in front, Bergmeyer, is doing it pretty well. He's got Peter Logue on his tail, and he's a fairly quick driver as well. A little bit further back, Avalon 19, Gary Drew, Philip Paul. Then it's Gary Cook, who's moved up pretty well through the field. Cars fairly well spread out. Are we going to see very much of a challenge between placings this time? Where's Rodder? Rodder's a long way back in the field. Those leading cars haven't altered, and they're not closing any gaps between each other. A couple I didn't pick up. Cook, 16 Mark Weaver, John Rodder. And who's the car at the tail end of the field now? It's gone from start to front to back is Steve Ludwig, who's dropped well out of the race. A few cars closing up down the far side straight for the minor placings, and I think Peter Logue is going to put a little bit more pressure on Ron Bergmeyer for first place. Bergmeyer let the tyre slip out just a little bit. Logue is looking at that gap between Bergmeyer's car and the inside line. I think that he thinks he might be able to pick up another position. I'd like to be able to watch those three cars going down the far side straight as well, but we can't watch them all as Peter Logue got the nose in front of Bergmeyer. A little bit of a nudge as they went through, and Logue almost lost it. Tail around, he's got himself back on the track, so it's Peter Logue out front at the moment, and he's going to have to pass Steve Ludwig as they go past us, or pretty close, by about the pit corner, I would say. Peter Logue, Ron Bergmeyer, Gary Drew, Philip Paul, and these other three cars a little further back are still having a battle all of their own. It's Cook, Weaver and Rodder back there, not necessarily in that order as they go past that slower car on the other side of the track. Peter Logan is still out in front, coming up to the white light. Full one lap left to go from Bergmeyer, and that other car causing a bit of a problem. The Avalon car of Drew, 32, Philip Paul. And look at these three fellows battling out. None of them want to be last. Well, they won't be last because there's a slower car there, but coming up for the checkered flag now, just a small portion of the lap left to go, and it's Peter Logan, car number 6, well out in front. Bergmeyer takes out second place, Gary Drew in third, Philip Paul in fourth place. This fellow's running last, and the one to win out of this crew is Cook from Weaver, then John Rodder, and there was a fair dinkum battle going on between those last three cars. We'll just jump to the official placings for the previous event, which was heat number 7, race 14. The winner was 22, Mackenzie. Second place, number 11, Grinstead. And third was number 1, Peter Reeves. The lap time by Mackenzie in car 22 was 17.44. Drew and Greg Wilkins, so he's not going to have it all his way. Around the outside is Peter Drew, who takes the lead already. Where is Fendig? I'll keep an eye on him a little further back in the field. He has to get through that run of cars to be able to do any good. It's number 90, 39 on the roof. Peter Drew, by the look of it, right out in front. Danny Amato, is it in second place at this stage? No, it's 55, Wilkins from Broken Hill. Then it's Peter Timberlake, also one of the previous heat winners, in third place. And number 2, the Victorian 2, Lionel West, back there in fourth place. Timberlake it is who moves through, and I think he might be going to get a warning. Peter Drew out in front, Timberlake, Wilkins, Lionel West, Adam Fendick a little further back, car number 9. Just that one at the rear of the field, and who did we lose? Doesn't pay to take your eye off for a second. Coming out this time, and they're away, and look at the pressure by Timberlake behind Drew. On the outside is West. Adam Fendick won't stay back there in fourth place for too long. And Timberlake gets the nose in front of West. Not in front of West, in fact in front of Drew. So it's Timberlake, Drew, and then West, and then Adam Fendick. Danny Amato a little further back. And we're going to see some close racing now as this car 29 of Stag took on a bit of the inside of the track. The other turn, we've lost another one, that's Timberlake. And it's not going to cause a stoppage. Timberlake may be able to get back on the track, but he's not going to take out any major placings in this particular heat. Wheels are spinning, I think, over there, waiting to get back on the track, but maybe he's not going to. Oh, look at West and Drew here. Now the battle for first and second place. West on the outside, Drew on the inside. Timberlake will take his position and try and pick up a few points. Oh, I thought he would wait till those cars went past. In fact, pulled out right in the middle of the lot of them. Well, boy, that certainly helped Drew. They don't race as a team, these two, do they? But I didn't think that was a very wise thing to do at that stage. West shot back in underneath Timberlake, back in there for second place. So it's Drew, West, Timberlake, Adam Fendick, Danny Amato. And then it will be Stagg, I think. Black and white flag, and these boys really having a go now. West is throwing everything he's got in that little Tirana out after that leading car of Peter Drew. Timberlake right on his tail. Is that Amato going past Adam Fendick a little further back in the field, as those two seem to be locked together. Out of the Deacon Avenue corner, we've got cars going all over the place. Amato, oh, Fendick almost took the nose off Danny Amato's car as he cut across then. Fendick up there now in fourth place. Look at the leading cars. Timberlake up underneath Peter. Oh, Drew, is it not? Yes, Peter Drew. One lap left to go. It's still Drew. Timberlake. Fendick's making a move on Lionel West. Fendick has moved up into third place. West has dropped back a position. Amato seemed to lose it a little bit, and we've lost got the yellow light. There's a few fingers being pointed here. I will most certainly await official results before I have too much to say about this particular event. We'd be looking at Rodder, Weaver and Amato to be the pace setters 3 minutes in the hope that that sun will drop the last small portion over there in the west. Tonight, the fastest lap was quicker than the previous lap record. Well, what a start by Rodder. He was way out in front. John Rodder is certainly going to take a little bit of tossing from that far out. In second place, it's Wilkins in 55, and then Mark Weaver in third. 29 a little further back is Stagg. The numbers on the side are easier to read than the roof numbers from here. And Cook right behind him, and then that last car there is Stephen Ludwig. But look at John Rodder. I think once this fellow gets out in front in the Firebird, he's pretty hard to catch. Wilkins from Broken Hill doing pretty well at this stage to hold down second place from Mark Weaver. Then it's Stagg. Then we've got Danny Amato, who's been held back in the field there a fair bit from Cook. Oh, and a little bit of trouble with Weaver. That allows Stagg, it is, to go past the 29. I don't know if the track's a bit slippery or he's having a little bit of trouble handling it, but he fished hard a fair bit as he went past them. Weaver moves out of that little group, still in third place. John Rodder, look at him go there in 46. Way out in front, a good lead. Wilkins also starting to lay a claim to that second place. And a warning flag, I think it was then, to perhaps Mark Weaver. It's just a little bit hard for me to tell who's getting the flags. Stagg still in third place. Weaver's taken the paint off the fence on the other side. That allowed Danny Amato from Ballarat to come through. Weaver's dropped back through the field a fair bit, and Cook now, we're not quite in last place. In last place, in fact, we have Stephen Ludwig, and he's a long way behind the field. So far behind that John Rodder is about to catch up to him if we go much longer. Wilkins starting well, as he did last night from Broken Hill. I think he took out a third place in the first heat last night. Is heading the right way for a second place, but he's got Stagg right on his tail. Amato's going to try and put the pressure on Stagg and see if he can pick up a few more points as Rodder passes the tail ender. John Rodder a good half a lap at least in front of the other vehicles. And now there's some pressure being put on Wilkins for that second place. Stagg right behind him. Danny Amato just a little further back. How much longer have they got to go? 1 lap left for Rodder as he goes past now. Well, there's no problem with Rodder, and that was Mark Weaver whipping through under Danny Amato on the other side. The second place car is still this one from Broken Hill of Greg Wilkins, but Stagg is putting a lot of pressure on him. One little slip by Wilkins and Stagg will go through. Rodder coming out of the Deacon Avenue corner for the checkered flag for the first time tonight in the title. And that was a great win for John Rodder to get himself a good start for tonight's racing. This car, of course, is the tail end of 31 of Ludwig. And it's Wilkins who's held on all the way to come in second from Stagg, Weaver, Danny Amato, then Cook in that order. See how he goes from there. Nicholas and Howland, of course, non-starters. And McEachran trying to get away on the outside, but it's Michael Clark who did get the good start. Timberlake on the inside is going to come out of that corner in second place. Adam Fendick doing fairly well. Lionel West shot through on the other two. Peter Drew got into a little bit of trouble. And Peter Reeves in the RX-7, the Victorian number 1, a fair way backwards. Clark from Timberlake, McEachran, Fendick, Stewart. And we're going to see some good racing in this heat, as I said, as Timberlake goes through in 13. Underneath that leading car of Michael Clark. Clark yet to take out a first, second or third. Timberlake, one of the favourites before the meeting started. Comes out of the Deakin Avenue corner and Clark's not going to let him have it all his way. And McEachran from Mount Gambier, I think it is, back there in third place. Adam Fendick right on their time, and they're not giving each other an inch as they go around there. The battle going on a little bit at the rear of the field as Peter Drew in 90 shot through under Lionel West. Then Lionel West likewise on the outside. Cars crossing the track everywhere as they come out of the Deakin Avenue corner. It's still Peter Timberlake, McEachran, Michael Clark, Fendick. They're not changing. Another battle going on back here, still between the two red cars there. And Peter Drew and Lionel West in that current Victorian number 1, Peter Reeves, right at the rear of the field. Well, that's an unusual spot to be seeing him. The leading car there of Peter Timberlake opening up a great lead. I don't think he'll get tossed. McEachran in his best race yet. Look at Fendick going through underneath that car there of Michael Clark. Fendick got the nose in front, hit a bit of a bump there. Fendick still in 4th place, Stewart behind. Look at Peter Drew in 90, trying to pick up a few points. Lionel West on the outside. The flames belching out the back of the RX-7 of Peter Reeves. And Fendick is going to tip that car over. He keeps up at this rate. He's really trying hard on the inside to pick up another placing. And the front wheel lifts up again. Look at Fendick going 25. As you can tell, he's my favourite here tonight. I reckon he's going to pick up a couple of placings before this race finishes. And he dives through. Just had to brake a little bit as he came out of the corner. Can he catch up on Michael Clark? Round the outside. Still can't do it. Fendick has lost a little bit of ground now. The leading cars have got it pretty well sewn up for first and second. The interest is in this batch of cars back there. Another attack on Michael Clark. Oh, look at that front wheel lift in Fendick's car. Right behind him is Stewart. 1 lap left to go. Then it's Peter Drew, Lionel West from Bendigo. Peter Reeves in the rear of the field, and West and Drew still having a battle. Well, the leading two cars are going to come across the way they've raced for most of this particular heat with Peter Timberlake. McEachran with his best race, and they're still trying back here, but it's Michael Clark, Adam Fendick, Steve Stewart, Peter Drew, and Reeves, I think, just avoided taking out a last place, and he came to under Lionel West of Bendigo in the Victorian number 2 car there. Well, I did say that that would be a fairly hectic sort of a race, and boy, are some of those fellows trying pretty hard. And this time we're going to get a start, and Cowland, oh, he got bustled out a little bit there as 19, that's Gary Drew took the lead. Cowland still in second place, and look at the bunch of cars going through. That's Philip Paul, I can see there. Harold Brennan having trouble at the rear of the field. Round the outside, it looks a bit like Peter Loeb's car to me from here. It looks like we're not going to accept that start. Cars will position themselves. Oh, getting very towy as they come around the Deakin Avenue corner, and the green light's on, and this time it's Cowland who holds himself out in front. Oh, a big bang there as 3 or 4 of the cars nudged each other as they went across the start line. Well, it's Cowland in 42, and the Holman's done fairly well. Ron Dalton on the inside there. Who was that on the other side? Gary Drew, is it? That got into second place. Tony Grinstead being locked up behind Harold Brennan. Harold in a lot of trouble there. It's Cowland still well out in front from Peter Drew. Peter Lowe back there in 4th place. It's Ron Dalton, of course, in 3rd. Philip Paul, Netherwelts. 5 will be Bergmeyer, and Tony Grinstead right at the rear of that bunch. Well, Tony Grinstead's got a lot of driving to do to catch up with these fellows. This 42, Cowland, didn't take out a major placing last night, but he's certainly in the box seat to do it tonight. Except that that's Avalon 19 there, trying to go through underneath is Gary Drew. He got the nose in front. Oh, no, he came back down to Graham Cowland and still hanging on to the lead. Well, that wasn't a bad bit of driving. And he's really got that Holmes belting around the track now. He wants to hang on to this first place. He hasn't been out there very much for this weekend. Gary Drew in second place. It's Ron Dalton back in 3rd. Peter Lowe. Then it's Philip Paul. And there goes Tony Grinstead picking up a couple of places now as he dives past Ron Bergmeyer and Neville Eltz a little behind him. Well, he's got a long way to go after getting through those slower cars. As Tony Grinstead, the Australian number 1 from Ballarat. He certainly wasn't going to sit at the rear of the field from very long, but Cowland doing it very well out in front. The Avalon driver there, Gary Drew, put the foot down. He closes the gap coming into the corner, but he can't make up that gap. Ron Dalton, then Peter Lowe, Philip Paul, Tony Grinstead closing up on them. 35, Ron Bergmeyer, Neville Eltz, and the local boy, Harold Brennan, bringing up the tail end of the field. We've got a couple of separate races going here, and Tony Grinstead frantically trying to close that gap, and he does as he comes into the corner, but a little bit too harsh into the corner. Cowden, in fact, is opening up a bigger lead. As I said before, one of the drivers not taking out a major placing last night as a first, second or third. He certainly is going to change that here tonight. In the second night of the heats of the Victorian title. 1 and a bit laps left to go for Cowden. Can he hang on? And can Gary Drew do a little bit better than his third places last night? Is he going to come out with a second? Ron Dalton, Peter Lowe, Philip Paul, Tony Grinstead is going like hell behind those cars to try and pick up a placing. I think he's going to run out of laps. He'll pick up another one with Philip Paul. No, he won't. Let's take a look at the leading card. Grinstead round the outside. No, he's gone too wide again. It's a desperate effort. Graham Cowden has taken out the placing, first placing with Gary Drew. And I think Ron Dalton hung on there for third. Peter Lowe, then Paul. And I don't think Tony Grinstead picked up another placing. Neville Eltz and Harold Brennan at the rear of the field. Well, I don't know when I've ever seen a more even field of cars for a major championships than what we've got here tonight. When you've got that Holden there of Cowden, didn't take out a first, second or third last night, and he won that race like a champion. And he's got some champions that followed him up. Gary Drew, 3 third places last night, put the pressure on. Peter Lowe, Dalton, Tony Grinstead, the Australian number 1. There's some pretty good cars following up behind him then. We'll just wait a second till we get the official placings for you, then we'll have a track maintenance to keep that track in tip-top shape as we're used to here at Mildura. Put on came second, I think, in the previous heat that he ran. Watch Timberlake go. I think Timberlake will get the good start. He's way out in front, and that's Cook right on his hammer. It's Stewart on the inside at second place, then Cook. Oh, a couple of bumps to the tail. Oh, and over the top, bang, smack. I'm not sure what happened then. I think Cook was it who was involved in that, and I think that might be Fendick. Well, I hope not, but I think that's Adam Fendick up there. Let's hope they can straighten that car out. As I said, they can drop their worst heat, but that's no good if they can't get back on there again. Car 29, in fact, was that Stag that may have been involved there. Those cars are identical except for the numbers on the side, and from this distance it's a little bit hard to pick just which car is which. That's Mark Weaver beside us now. I couldn't even pick quite what happened then. It was completely unexpected at the time. Often you see the trying to put the cars into their correct starting order. I think the